Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the C&W Canada Garage Doors YouTube channel. I'm Trevor, and this is the man with the plan, Chris Wilke. He's the president and CEO of C&W. And today our topic is Garage Doors Edmonton, top 5 common problems homeowners have with garage doors. This is something you probably know a lot about.
I know a thing or two, yes.
Because you've been doing garage doors for how long now?
My entire life.
Your entire life. Okay. Came out of the womb. Garage doors.
with winding rods and a wrench, yes.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay. So I have a quick quote for you from Walt Disney. We always start off with a quote. The best way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing.
Yes.
And that's what we do every single day. Right, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Now, interesting statistic. Average garage door opens 3 to 5 times each day. So about 1,500 times per year that thing is opening and closing.
Most used appliance in the household. Absolutely.
That is your go-to theme. It's the most used appliance in the house.
The biggest appliance in your house. It's the most overlooked. I'm bringing the garage door to the forefront of your mind. That's my goal.
Now, I'm going to say the washer dryer is probably close second, because in my house we've got lots of people and that thing is running almost 24/7.
Every family is different, for sure.
That's right. Okay, so Chris, today let's go through this top 5 list. I'll start. Number one problem that people have with garage doors is the photo eye alignment.
Yeah, that's right. The photo eyes is probably my most common service call. People don't understand why their garage door isn't closing, and they think there's something wrong with their door, and they're hitting the button a bunch of times, but that sucker won't close, and they call me out, and I move a broom out of the way of the photo eyes, and like magic, it works. So make sure you're checking your photo eyes. Those 2 little camera looking things at the bottom of your track, and making sure that they're pointed at each other, that they're cleaned. Don't use anything like a power washer to wash them or anything like that. Just a nice damp cloth. Just do a nice little rub over. Make sure there's no cobwebs on them or anything like that, and make sure that they're properly used. And the way you can test that is by closing your garage door and interrupting the beam underneath the floor to make sure that door reverses.
Now, Chris, tell people, maybe they don't understand why that photo eye is there.
So it's a safety mechanism to make sure that no pets or maybe children or anything get caught underneath the garage door as it's closing. It's actually been a law since 1993 that all garage door openers must be installed with photo eyes. So that if you don't have those on the bottom of your door, it might be time to call a professional to get someone out there to upgrade your garage door to have these safety sensors. For sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's move on to number 2. Number 2 problem that you see with garage doors, that the most common complaints, is broken cables.
So yeah, the broken cable. Like, a lot of people don't realize that the cables are located on the bottom of the door and go up towards the top. And if you don't have one of those, if you don't have both of those functioning properly, you can end up with a crooked door stuck in the opening, and trust me, you're not going to be able to open it without both of those cables functioning properly. So this comes back to yearly maintenance. We want to make sure you're lubricating your bottom brackets, which is where the cable attaches to, as well as your springs, as well as your cable drums. All those things need to be maintained once a year at least to make sure that they're going to function properly. Because if you don't have those cables, your door ain't going up.
That's right. It's impossible for that garage door to pull that thing open without
those. Yeah, exactly.
Because it's attached to the spring, right?
Exactly, and the spring is your counterbalance. It all flows together.
So speaking of the spring, then the number 3 most common problem with garage doors is a broken spring. Tell us a little bit about that.
So when people try to open their garage door and it only goes up about an inch or 2, or maybe even a foot, and you keep hitting that button and you're trying, why isn't it open? I don't understand. Most commonly, that's your spring being broken, and you're not going to be able to lift that even manually, because your spring is the counterbalance of your garage door. Now, it's very important you do not try to fix this yourself as a homeowner. It is the most dangerous part of the garage door, and if you don't have the proper tools and equipment, you can do serious injury to yourself or even death. So please do not try that at home. Contact a professional if you think your spring might be broken.
Yeah, so how much does a garage door weigh? Typically all of the different panels and so forth.
It's a really good question. Yeah. It can range anywhere from 200 pounds all the way up to 400 to 600, depending on what type of garage door you have. So imagine trying to lift 600 pounds by yourself. Unless you're a super buff athlete, it's probably not going to happen, right?
Probably. Yeah, so that's why that spring takes up all of that extra weight, so it's easier for the opener.
And imagine
to pull
if you have a 600-pound door, how much tension must be on that spring at all times, which is why you do not want to touch or operate that. I will repeat this until I'm blue in the face. You don't want to touch or operate that spring by yourself. Please contact a professional.
Yeah, good advice. Next, so number 4, we're on number 4, the top 5 common problems homeowners have with garage doors. Worn rollers. What are the rollers? Where are they located, and what do they do?
So the rollers, on the average garage door has 5 rollers on each side. They're located on the side and usually attached to the hinge. And these rollers do have a cycle count. They have a lifespan. And if they're not replaced after I think it's 1,500 cycles, we're going to run into some serious issues, because you want to make sure that because if one of those rollers jams, the whole thing jams. So you can't, you're not going to have a smooth operating garage door. You can potentially end up slipping the cables because one side wants to go down, the other roller's jammed and not wanting to go down, and then you can have a crooked door, and then you got to call a professional to make sure that comes out. So make sure that your rollers, if they haven't been, if you've got a 15-year-old door and you haven't replaced the rollers, please contact a professional to get those replaced, because oftentimes they lead to serious trouble.
Yeah, big time. So these are some of the things that you run into every day with garage doors. And you know, the thing is, if people don't maintain them, then they have to call you.
Exactly.
Right? So
right? And it's much cheaper to replace your rollers and replace the entire door. Let me tell you. I mean, that's pretty much common sense, I think.
Yeah. If the rollers cost more than the door, you're calling the wrong company.
You've called the wrong company.
Okay, so let's move on to number 5. Number 5 common problem with the garage doors: rusted hinges or bottom brackets.
So this kind of goes hand in hand with rollers. The hinges are going to make your garage door flex as it goes through the radius of the track. So we got to make sure that those hinges are properly maintained, that they're not broken or cracking. Yes, your hinges can crack, so make sure you're looking for that, and make sure they're properly lubricated. Because if you have a hinge that's not cooperating, it's like, you know, your whole garage door is going to be affected by that. There's different sizes of hinges too. A lot of people don't really know that. There's a number 1 hinge, 2 hinge, 3 hinge as you go up the door. So you got to make sure that you're putting the proper hinge on the proper place. And again, this is where a professional comes in, because it's not really common knowledge, right? So these hinges are very important to make sure that your garage door runs smoothly. So if you're not lubricating them, if you see some rust on them, cracking, or straight up broken, call a professional. It's time to get those hinges replaced.
Yeah, 100%. That makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. And it's something that we don't usually look at on the inside, because we get in our car, hit the thing,
hit the button and go.
Right?
It's a toaster. You plug it in and it works. That's what people think of with the garage doors, right? No one thinks, is the coil of my toaster going to be at the proper heat? But that's what I do with garage doors. Are these cables properly maintained? Are they rusted? Do they need to be replaced? Are they fraying? Or are these hinges broken? Are the rollers? All these things what C&W thinks about when they come to your place and do a service for you.
Yeah. So when you need some help with your garage door, you need to be calling a professional like C&W Canada Garage Doors.
Absolutely.
Chris here will help you out. So we don't ever want to give just enough information. We always want to go over and above. And
one step beyond.
One step beyond. Give a little bit more. So we have a bonus common problem that homeowners have with the garage doors, and it's worn out weather stops. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so there are 2 things that I consider weather stop. That's the side perimeter rubber that's around your door, and if that's worn out or flaking or chipped, then you could have air coming through, and especially in where we live in Alberta, that's no good in the wintertime. You don't want snow blowing in, you don't want cold air coming in and running up your electric bill. So making sure that those are properly maintained and replaced if they're broken or if they're worn out is a huge thing to help you out during the wintertime. The second is the bottom rubber at the bottom of the door. Especially if over time your house settles and you get a little bit of a sinking issue, we can replace it with a thicker rubber to make sure you're getting a proper seal at the bottom. So we can eliminate critters coming in your house. We can eliminate water coming in. We can eliminate the snow and all that other stuff from coming into your garage door with a properly maintained weather seal at the bottom. And if that doesn't work, we also have other solutions to make sure that we can get that seal working properly.
Yeah, it's good to have that seal on there. I know in our one house we had issues with rodents. You'd get into the garage. You can get in the house, thank God, but in the garage, and it's just something you don't wanna deal with.
Fall time is especially important because that's when they want to come in. They're trying to find shelter for the winter. So we want to make sure that your house is nice and sealed so those critters don't come in and bother you during the winter.
Exactly. All right, Chris, so how can people get rolling with C&W Canada Garage Doors?
See what you did there. You can get in contact with us with our phone number, 780-266-1248. You can visit us online at www.cwgarage.ca or visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/C&W, or obviously you're on our YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/C&W Canada.
All right, and roll us out with the tagline.
For service and installation that's just too strong, when your door's in trouble, you call C&W.